Hello, today I wanted to just do a quick review of some products that I picked up when I was on a business trip. I was in San Jose, California at a place called the Muji Store, M-U-J-I, I believe it was. And my friend that I saw there, she knew that we needed to go to this place because she remembered she saw like a stationery section. So we went. And I picked up 2 pens and 2 different highlighters and a pad of paper. So one thing that was cool about that store was they had like all these, well, I shouldn't say they had all these. They had several stamps that you could use to decorate the cover of your book if you wanted to. And so I did, and of course I just took it a couple steps too far. It was looking really cool until I couldn't stop playing with the stamps. So the cover just comes plain brown. These stamps are what I put on it. The notebook did come with an elastic, which was really nice, and really nice double coil binding. It's very sturdy. The cover is very sturdy, and I like that the cover has rounded corners and everything feels really nicely finished, not like it's gonna split apart, and there was no rough jagged edges. It's very nice. The cover, I would say, I could even measure this cover because it is pretty thick for a little, just a little notebook. Wrong side for me. It is about a 1/16 of an inch thick, which is pretty good, just for a little notebook. It came in so many different sizes. They had graph, blank, lined, dot grid, multiple different styles, sizes. They all had, if I remember correctly, they all had little bands, and they all had this binding. It's all in a different language, I believe Japanese, so if you read it, if you can read it, more power to you. And I honestly don't remember how much I paid for this. I used this when I was at the conference to take notes, and then I've been using it since. So when you open it, this is what the cover looks like on the outside. You have a nice heavy, almost feels like watercolor paper, and it's textured. And so I guess this is just the title page. And then you open it, and then you start your pages in the book. And so I've just used this to make some lists of things and a couple little doodles, and I will move on to the actual paper itself. So I was using the Pilot Multi-Ball, I believe is what it's called, which I will also review in another video. Yeah, the Pilot Multi-Ball. No, it wasn't. It was, I think it was the Pilot Razor Point that I was using. I'm sorry, I'm looking for it now. I thought I had it right there. Well, oh yeah, here it is. I was using this pen, the Pilot Razor Point, which I've done a review on. I really like this pen. It's a nice felt tip, needle tip felt tip pen, if that makes sense. So you can, oh my goodness, my neighbors are slamming into my house. Sorry for all that noise. Very close quarters around here. You can see definitely show through on pretty much every page with that. It's an inky kind of pen, but not really any bleed through, even on something that's, say, like a little more heavily decorated. Oops. So like you can definitely see show through right from the page in front, but there's no bleed through really with this. Just a lot of shadowing. The paper is, nothing feathers on this paper. The paper is really smooth. Like, I mean, we're talking on par with like the Clairefontaine feeling of smoothness. Very smooth, very like glassy feeling. It's really nice. And I have the dot grid pattern, and I don't know if you can see that. You can see it now. But all of the lines or the graph or whatever you chose was very faint gray. And I don't remember how many pages came in this, but as you get to the end, you have another piece of that heavy, almost watercolor paper, and then the back of your notebook. So I really have been enjoying this. I like this size. This has got to be like something like 8 by 6. Yeah, this is like an 8 by 6 inch notebook. I really like it, like the size. Love the paper. Even though you can see through on the other side, I just find that I'm writing on one side of the paper for the most part anyway, so it doesn't really matter. Let me just do a very quick sample for you. I'll pull out some different pens to write on this with, and we'll see about show through and bleed through. So I'm trying to pull out some that I think you'll be familiar with. We'll get an ink from a fountain pen, and let's get, we'll do another one. We'll do a Coletto too. Coletto? I don't know. So we're going to try these different pens on the paper and see about bleed through and show through. This will give you an idea of some different types. So this is just a Uniball Sino .38. This is a gel pen. So we've got a Uniball Sino .38. Then we have a Sharpie pen, like this pen. Actually, I like most pens. Let's be real. Then I just have a Field Notes Bic Click. Next, I have a Pilot Acroball 07. Next, I have the High-Tech C Coletto. Let's do black. Oops. High-Tech C Coletto in .4. Coletto? I don't know. I hear it all the time, different ways on YouTube. And then the Pilot Petite with an F nib. Okay. So we've got a pretty good sampling across the board. We have gel. I guess I didn't need to do 2 gel, especially because they're almost the same size. But we have 2 gel. We have the Sharpie pen, a ballpoint, a hybrid, and a fountain pen. So absolutely no bleeding or feathering of that fountain pen nib. And everything looks nice and sharp and crisp. The paper is so smooth. And let's flip it over and see what it looks like on the other side. Oh, and you know what? I should do the razor point because this is a felt tip. Okay. So this is a Pilot razor point. Okay, that's a very exaggerated N. Okay, and no feathering on that as well. So let's flip it over. And you can see not a whole lot of show. I mean, you can see it. It's much more pronounced in real life, but nothing has bled through, even the Sharpie pen. But you can definitely see it. I mean, you could write on both sides of the paper, but if I had to choose, I would choose to only write on one side of the paper. And I'm just curious now what a Sharpie marker would do, because Sharpie marker shows through everything. Now this is not necessarily a brand new Sharpie marker, but it is a Sharpie marker. Wow, I'm impressed. It all pretty much shows through the same. This is just a bolder line, but it certainly didn't bleed through. Huh, that's pretty cool. Yeah. So this paper I think is excellent. If you only need to write on one side, that's awesome, because I think that's probably what it's best for. I mean, I can even see, this is interesting. I don't know if you can see this. I don't think so. I can see what's showing through on the page behind this one. I can see this stuff from this side. So it definitely shows through. I'd say this is a one side notebook, but it's very nice. I would purchase it again, absolutely. It wasn't, you know, that expensive. It didn't stand out as anything that was super expensive, so I would repurchase it again. It was just a great notebook. Oh, and I will leave it open. Well, I want to be consistent, so I will use an ARC piece of paper. I think that's where I'm going with my reviews, is I'm just going to use the ARC. So, the next thing that I wanted to show you are the pens that I bought. So I bought this for my brother, and I will send this to him. He likes retractable green highlighters, and I thought this was a pretty cool looking one. I purchased this for myself because at the conference that I was at, I needed pen, paper, highlighter, and I used it all. It was lovely. And I've used a lot since. I got a dual-ended pink marker, and I'm assuming these are all Muji brand. I don't know because I can't read the labels. You can see. Oh, this one's made in Korea, this one's made in Japan, and I can't read anything else that's on that label. Then I got two different pens. They're both .38. I knew I wanted something that was a fine tip pen when I was there, but I got one in a turquoise and one in an orchid. And these are both made in Japan. Again, I assume it's a Muji brand. But they're all this frosted plastic, and I wasn't too worried about it getting beat up, or if I lost it, it was no big deal because none of these were, you know, more than $1 or $2. They were all very inexpensive, and they were fun. So I'm going to do a writing sample for you, and you'll see what it looks like. I've used these three extensively. I haven't really used this much just because I didn't buy it for myself, but I will give you a sample of that. So we'll start with the pens. This one I found myself using more, the lavender, or it's more orchid than anything. And so when you open it up, or I'll just give it a quick measure here. The pen measures with the cap almost 5.5 inches long. It does have a clip on it, just a little plastic clip that's not going to, you know, take too much abuse, but you could use it to secure it in a backpack or something. Again, the frosted plastic color is pretty cool. Each of the caps had the color of the ink and then the size on the top, and it came in a lot of different sizes. I just got the .3, and I think this was the smallest it came in. There's no clear, if I pull this off, this label off, there's no clear branding anywhere on the pen, so if that kind of thing bothers you, you wouldn't have it here. The end of it has, you can see like the screw down piece in there, and it has a little notched end for you to stick this pen cap on, and it does fit on pretty securely, but it's very easy to just pop it off that way, but it does sort of seat itself in there. This is what the grip area looks like. There's no step down on the barrel, just all the way down here at the end where we go from the frosted textured plastic down to a smooth clear plastic. It has the ink color there, and then just the fine metal tip. And so it's, I mean, it's nothing special. It's kind of a cool looking pen, and it's comfortable to hold. I would say that little step there doesn't bother me at all. This pen is super lightweight. It's pretty effortless. The diameter is a nice diameter to grip. I've used this for very extended note-taking sessions when I was at the conference. I used these pens all the time, and my notebook was very full. I've since taken those pages out, and it worked great. I have no complaints. It didn't fatigue my hand. It was a reliable writer. They all were reliable writers every time. So let me just write it out, and I'm just going to write that it's a Muji pen because that's all I really know about it. .38. It doesn't skip. It lays down a very smooth, vibrant line of ink. It's very fine tipped. I like it, and I have absolutely no complaints about it. It works great. If I do something like this and I do really fast writing with it, it still doesn't skip. I would say it lays out a consistent line of ink every time, and it just works great. It's a nice vibrant gel pen, and it wasn't very expensive. So here is a sample of the, I guess I'm going to call it the orchid, and I think it's showing up like my nail polish, if you have seen like Barbie pink, that's what this color is. So I think that might help you to compare that this is definitely more purple, more orchid color than like a pink. They probably did have pink there. I don't remember. They had a lot of them there. The next one was the turquoise one. It's hard to do a J and then an I. And this one was exactly the same experience that I had with the last, or the orchid one. It's no problems, no skipping, no startup issues. I haven't used these pens in a long time. No problems whatsoever. So there's the turquoise. And here's the highlighter. This was the pink one that I bought for myself. It was dual-ended, and it has a clip as well. The same, plastic clip. This one is not frosted plastic. It kind of has a frosted look in the middle, but it's definitely a smooth, shiny plastic. No branding on it anywhere. This is the fine tip end, and it does seat itself on this, although it doesn't really stick on there very well. But this is the fine tip. And, oh, I might as well flip it, right? This also seats itself onto this one a lot nicer, and this is the broad tip. And I love that it has the little window in it. I bought my brother a highlighter, or a couple of them actually, that have had windows in them, and they're really cool because you never go over where you wanted to. You can always stop. And I remember just from years of using highlighters in books that when I'm like highlighting a passage, I always go a little too far and it drives me crazy because it's past the period and it's on to the next sentence, and I didn't need that word. Anyway, so I'll start with the broad end first, and I like that it's not a really wide line, but it's certainly, wide enough. So I'm just laying down some consistent lines of ink. It's a nice moist line around there, I guess would be the best to say. And of course you can go narrow if you want, if I wanted to lay it sideways and do that. But I can see, if this is the point where I want to stop, I'm writing this and then I want to highlight just to the end of that, I can definitely see through the little window, like that's the very end I need to stop. So I like it. It's just a nice vibrant color of ink, just a nice bright pink, and this came in multiple colors as well. So I used this. I have used this and I've enjoyed it. The fine end looks like that. It's a very nice fine highlighter. I like it. And it's just a rounded tip. Same exact color because I believe I assume it's sharing the ink section there in the middle. And then the last thing I will show you is the green retractable highlighter. I remember they didn't have as many colors of this as they did of the dual-ended one, but this is the one I knew he would want. It's the same plastic that's on the highlighter, and it looks like the ink piece goes all the way up in there. No branding at all, but it has a nice sturdier clip than the other, and it has a nice click mechanism, so you can see all the inner workings. And if I click it, it's nice. So that's what the tip looks like. It's a little chiseled tip, and it is not quite the same width as this one. It's smaller, but it's larger than the fine tip on the other side of the dual end. And so here is a sample of this. I like this color green. Green I think is a hit and miss color. Sometimes it's not highlighter-y enough, fluorescent, I guess, enough, and sometimes it's just way too light. This is coming off as less fluorescent than it is in real life, but I think it's good to show that it's definitely, you can see this one. And there are some green ones that are so faint it's hard to see, or it's hard to tell that they're green. They kind of look yellow. But this is a nice, bright, vibrant green, and I think you'll really like it. And it's super easy because it comes in this. And if you can see, when I push it up, it comes out, right? But when you go back in, it gets covered and it stays dry. So it's not one of those retractables that's going to go dry. As long as you retract it in there, it's going to stay moist because it's protected. Did I just say the... Anyway. I feel like I said something confusing there, but hopefully I'm clear with the cap that comes and covers it. It stays moist. It does not dry out. So I would definitely repurchase these pens and the paper. I thought that the whole set was just wonderful. I liked how all the notebooks came with the elastic. You had different paper choices. You could pick any paper you wanted, any size. You could decorate it. If I had more sense, I would have stopped with the stamps, but you know. I also really liked the pens and the highlighters. So the next time I go back up to San Jose, I will definitely go to the Muji store and see what else they have there. Might get some other colors and sizes of these, a couple other highlighters, and of course a few more notebooks because everything was really reasonably priced. I mean, it was cheap compared to some of the stuff that I'll, buy from Jet Pens or whatever. So anyway, I hope that you found this useful, and I thank you so much for watching and subscribing, liking the video, and leaving me comments because I always enjoy interacting with you guys. I hope you have a really nice day, and I will speak with you soon. Bye.